installing BIP110 as of February 2026. This article is intended for those people already running Bitcoin Knots or Bitcoin Core on Ubuntu who want to build from scratch and run BIP110. You can watch this YouTube video to follow along with this process. You can find out more information about BIP110 on this website. That's BIP110.org. It takes you through the pros and cons and has a question and answer section at the bottom. These instructions take you through deploying the first official release of BIP110 version 0.1 on Bitcoin Knots. This is a drop-in replacement for Bitcoin Knots and Bitcoin Core version 29.x. Prep work. If you have an existing Bitcoin node installation, first stop it. So I'm going to stop my test and installation. You might have a different procedure for your one. I need to do that with sudo for mine. Oh, let me put the word stop in there. That's better. Then move it ready for the new BIP110 version to download. So I'm just going to become my testnet user. So I can see my existing installation called Bitcoin there. So I'm just going to move that. So if all goes bad, you can just move it back and put things back how they were originally. Next, we need to clone the BIP10 repository. So we'll copy and paste that command in. And it'll download it into a directory called Bitcoin. And let's verify the code hasn't been tampered with. So we'll just go into the Bitcoin directory. And we'll ask it to verify the tag. Now here we're getting a warning that it can't check the signature. So you might get a warning like can't check signature. Let's see if there's a publicly registered key for this hash. So we asked GPG to check in this case, the Ubuntu key server to see if there's anyone registered for that key, which is that key right there. So we'll paste that in. And conveniently it found one for Datham Ohm, and we know that that is the author of BIP110, so that all checks out. And we'll ask it to verify the code again. Okay, so this time you should see a good signature from Datham Ohm, and that's what we get there. You'll get a warning that the key is not certified, so that's what this warning is about here. But we can't do anything about this unless we actually meet Datham or someone we trust who has met Datham to 100% confirm it is really him. Time to get building. The less code you use, actually this process takes a little while, so I'm just going to run it, and then while it's running I'm going to come back and read it. The less code you use, the less likely you are to be affected by vulnerabilities and bugs. I don't use the Bitcoin wallet in the node software or Tor, so I'll disable it both. So that's where I've disabled the wallet. That's where I've disabled Tor. I solo mine with CK Pool Solo, and it's more efficient with ZMQ enabled. So I enable ZMQ support, which is that one there, turn ZMQ on. Lastly, I want the node to be as fast as possible. So I'll enable all host CPU optimizations, and that's what that line is doing. And then you need to copy and paste all of this in one go. It checks what's available and configures the build environment. So conveniently that's all finished, so the build environment's all ready to go. And now we get to build it. This can take a long time. On my machine it takes 12 minutes. So I'm gonna, now this tells it to build 4 files concurrently. So J4 is a nice sort of safe number. You want to make sure you've got at least 4 CPUs if you do this. The more you specify this, the more RAM it uses. So minus J4 is often a nice sort of intermediate setting. If you make that number smaller, then that 12 minutes will go up. Okay, I'll come back when that's all finished building. Okay, we've finally finished building it. Optionally, you can run the test below to verify it starts correctly and hit Control-C when it's done. So we'll do that. We'll just start it up running. And what you want to see, the first line mentioned that it's running a version of BIP110. So we'll kick that in. So basically I'm looking to make sure this starts and it doesn't have any errors. So I'm going to hit Control C there, and I'll go back up to the top. Right, it's finished shutting down. And in the very first line, you can see it mentions it's running BIP110, so that's what we want to see. So I just provide an example there. And then start your Bitcoin node as you did previously. I use systemctl, but I won't cover that off here. So I'll just show me starting that up there. So I'll just tell it to start. Oops, let's try that again. Hopefully I'll be able to type my password correctly eventually. Let me just check that it actually did start running and I just didn't do the password wrong 3 times in a row. Yep, that started. All right, I'm going to go back to being my NOTS testnet user and back into the Bitcoin directory. All right, back to the instructions. You can run the command below to confirm that your node is advertising support for BIP110. Note this command will not work until your node is finished starting up, which might take 30 to 60 seconds. So if you do this too quickly, it might you might just have to wait and do it again. All right, mine's doing it. So what you want to see here is that it's advertising BIP110 to the rest of the Bitcoin world. So you should see BIP110 in the output, and that's what mine looks like. You can monitor the BIP110 rollout on this website. And at this time, there's 1,305 nodes. So it's thebitcoinportal.com/nodes/BIP110. And that's showing how many nodes are currently advertising BIP110 support, and which is about 5.6% of all the nodes globally. Okay, I hope you found that interesting, and I'll leave another little video you might want to watch up in the top corner of this video.